Hello YouTube, this is going to be a quick video about Mana Leech for Monk builds and how you can incorporate it into pretty much any build. It's all about the Bell doing the Mana Leech, and I'll demonstrate it now.
There are no limits to corruption's influence.
I'm purposely like draining my mana. And the Bell's like right on top of him, so it's not the best example. Try to do a good showcase for this.
Freezing strike.
I was just thinking, like, can I reset this somehow? No, you can't. You have to, like, finish the fight out. There we go. There's a good example of it. You just need... Because this boss... I kept, like, putting the bell directly on top of the boss. You need to put the bell behind the boss. Just unfortunate, because sometimes the bell placement is really stupid and finicky. But as you can tell there, I had borderline no mana whatsoever, and I just leech instantly back to full. This is really bad against like the like big bosses. It's like if a boss has an even bigger hitbox, your bell is just gonna be so far away that like none of the projectiles are ever gonna hit it. However, if you had really high attack time, and because I only have a 0.25 attack time, this is for rage generation. So I'll go over my links. Also, I never used Unbound Avatar, but I can do around like half of a boss's HP in just one bell if I get the right placement. But Elemental Invocation, link to Eye of Winter, Cold Exposure, Strip Away, Deacceleration. So the best placement is if you can put the bell around this far away from you. Some of the bigger bosses, they have like a hitbox that doesn't allow the bell to be placed directly on them, and then the bell gets like pushed backwards ever so slightly. Those are like the best bosses to really demonstrate this on. Unfortunately, sometimes the bell placement is just so bad that you don't really notice the mana leech. And then in my Tempest spell, I am running Rage Forge, Heft, Heavy Swing, Supercritical. In my Ice Strike, I have the Rage gem. Rage is every 0.5 seconds, so 0.25 second attack time. The second hit and then the third hit are always going to generate rage, I believe. Can replay the video and just double check me on that. Because the last hit is 50% less attack speed, basically the attack time then becomes a 0.5 for me. So that's rage with Ice Strike stuff. And then on Tempest spell, I have rage support. So the ideal situation is you hit the boss a couple of times, they're almost frozen, you then pop in Unbound Avatar, you then place the bell. Ideally, the bell goes behind them, like in the very last showcase there. And then you press your invocation, send out the Eye of Winters. Eye of Winter will initially hit the boss and apply the critical weakness, and then go to my bell. And my bell, because I have super critical, it's going to deal more damage. It's going to have like a 70-ish% chance to crit. If you apply an ailment to your bell, it converts the physical damage. So if you really need the leech, don't hit the bell at all with any auto attack, and just use your invocation to detonate the bell for the mana sustain. And then that combined with using a mana flask, you'll probably end up having like good mana sustain. I rarely ever have to press my mana flask other than like just generic mapping. And if you combine this with like reduced mana cost on your tree, you're going to be sitting very comfortably. Rage does not have a mana multiplier on it, unlike a lot of other support gems. Ice Bite also doesn't have a mana multiplier, and Martial Tempo doesn't have a mana multiplier. So the ideal situation, like I said, is you're about to freeze the boss, and then you place your bell, and then you unbound Avatar, and then you invocate. That'll give you the most amount of damage on your bell. If you do decide to apply an ailment, it is going to convert 60% of that damage into elemental. So you'll have way higher elemental damage because it's going to be converting and then scaling and everything else like that. So there's a couple of different ways you can play around with it. You'll sometimes be able to just instantly leech your mana back to full, just like I showed. Other times you're not going to get any mana leech, just like I showed. It's completely like player skill related, but yeah, that's pretty much all I really want to show in this video. A few things to note is if you aren't running like a big fizz stick, like even bigger than this, what you could do is you can have a weapon swap, because I know a lot of people, they like a high attack speed weapon, they like a high elemental damage with attacks, and then like ideally like triple crit mods on suffixes, and then those kind of just settle with whatever physical damage they get because the other mods are just way more impactful for your damage. But you could do a weapon swap and then allocate passives and whatnot to greatly impact your leech and link up the Tempest Bell to be on your weapon swap with like other nodes on your passive tree. You could pick up stuff like Manifold Method. You could pick up Immortal Thirst, Siphon. Style Bender might be decent just for like 3 points because increased fizz, and then break 30% increased armor. If you run like armor break or something like that, maybe it could be good. I don't know. I haven't tested it. I haven't played around with it. But you can basically kind of do like a weird weapon swap thing where you're kind of just going for other stuff. Like I don't have any of this like other crit nodes, but I could pick up these crit nodes and put it on the Tempest Bell. I could path down here, take like Throat Seeker, or I could like path and like get some of these crit damage nodes too. There's a lot of like different options that you have available. I mean, I could also like take the dog shit quarterstaff wheel, but I mean, that's a subject for another video. This wheel is bad. Any build that has it, I immediately assume they don't know what they're actually doing. But that's it for this video. I guess an SSF player's opinions on all of the Mana Leech and Mana Sustain is it's really not that bad, but also my build's scuffed because I'm in SSF, so I'm ZDPS build. But mana is not an issue for me and my build, thanks to the Mana Leech. And if you're in trade, just get a 6-link, put Mana Leech in your Tempest Bell, you'll be off to the races because it's really, really, really good. Even if the bell is converted, it's still enough leech for me, and I don't even have a good stick. So you can get like a stick that literally does twice the amount of fizz DPS as this. The attack speed does not matter for the purpose of bell whatsoever. But yeah, that's it. See you in the next one. Peace.